how to cook. This channel is all about combining those two things, good food, beautiful, and a great story. Today, I am wanting to make you one of my favorite family recipes. They are my Aunt Susan's molasses crinkle cookies. And listen, even if you're not a big molasses fan, you gotta try this. Let me go grab my mixer and I'll be right back. I didn't mention in my last video that yes, it's called the Cauldron series, but then I said I wrote a book. That's a little confusing. It is a series. It's 3 books total. They're all done. I wrote them all at once from beginning to end. And every time I tell people that, their very first question is, how long did that take you? 6 years. I have 2 sticks of butter that are softened. I'm actually just gonna use 3/4 of a cup. So that is 1 stick of butter and 1/2 of another stick. And we're gonna whip this until it's nice and light. Don't get impatient with it. Just whip it, whip it, whip it good. Work, Rosie, work it. Go, girl. So as Rosie's working this butter to death, I'm going to get my brown sugar. You don't use white sugar in this recipe, just brown. Oh. So 6 years. Why did it take me so long? Well, I had a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old when I started it. Do I really need to say anything else? We're gonna go ahead and get the brown sugar ready. You're gonna use 1 cup of packed brown sugar. If you don't know this, let me tell you, anytime you see brown sugar in a recipe, it always means packed. Pack it. It's really starting to lighten up. I'm gonna give it another minute, but I wanted to share with you guys the process of novel writing over such a long period of time. Big stories take time, and they should if they are developed well. Some people ask me, why didn't you just write the first book and then try to publish it and then do the second? Because I saw it as a full story, but I just wanted some flexibility in that when you build a world and you have these characters experience so many things, you need to make sure you're not breaking any rules that you set up to begin with. And the only way to adjust that or change that is to not publish it until it's all done. So that's why it took 6 years. All right, it's nice and white. Can you just see on the mixer? That's not yellow anymore. It's pretty white and light. That's what you want, right there. Okay. We are gonna do 1 packed cup of brown sugar. And we're going to blend that brown sugar with that butter until it's nice and brown and well mixed and creamy. My scraper's over here, hold on. This one is meant to go with Rosie. They belong together. All right, we're gonna help her out and get these edges right here. I know, I should get shots of the inside of the bowl someday, but I'm just not there yet, guys. Like that. And to that, we're going to add 1 egg. No, no, no. No shells. Do it this way. It's safer, but I like to live on the edge. But I could tell, yep, see, there it is, right there. If you ever have a shell break into your broken egg, you take the shell. Shells are attracted to themselves. They're kind of arrogant that way. Yeah. If you tried to get that puppy with your finger, it would avoid it like it's, you know, a positive and positive charge. But use the shell, works every time. She's so good. I forgot to get out the best ingredient for the molasses crinkle cookies, the molasses. Hold on a minute. I just realized something. I got my molasses out and I looked at the back of the bottle. Molasses crinkle cookies. There it is. I just always attributed this to my Aunt Susan, but it was really Grandma's first, and then it became Aunt Susan's. So you take your molasses, you're gonna add a 4th cup. Ooh! In case your mother didn't beat this into you like mine did, when you have a sticky jar and you pour something out of it, use a wet rag that's nice and clean and wipe the edges down. My mother is smiling as she's watching this. I guarantee it. Now you won't have any trouble getting the lid off next time. Okay, next we have, not in this order, but there's baking soda, we have flour, and where's all my spices? Oh, here they are. Cloves, ginger, cinnamon, and salt. All right, let me get my teaspoons out. We're gonna mix this in its own bowl. Oh, I have a glass bowl so you can actually see it. We are going to do 2 1/4 cups of flour. 1. Don't pack your flour. Use something else to scoop it into your cup. Otherwise, you will add way more flour than the person that wrote the recipe intended, and it will bland out the flavor of your food. 1/4 cup. 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Shake it out, level it out. 2. Now to spice things up, we're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. A 1/2 teaspoon of cloves. I only have whole cloves. No, I don't. Guys, I have ground cloves. I'm thinking of my nutmeg. Just a second. Ooh. You never let a good ground clove go to waste. That's what Molasses grandma always says. 1 teaspoon, and it's almost exactly 1 teaspoon that I spilled. I wouldn't call that luck, or I don't even know what you call it. I was only supposed to do a 1/2 teaspoon. Oh! 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, I promise. And then 1 teaspoon of ginger. Yes, 1 teaspoon. I'm gonna have to use my 1/2 teaspoon because it won't fit into my little jar here. So we'll do 2 of these. 1, 2. I promise you, this will be a lot easier when you do it. All right, and we're gonna mix it up all together before we add it to our dry ingredients. Now, if you're asking, why do you make it separate in this bowl and not just put it all in there one at a time and mix it up? Because that's what the recipe says to do. Aunt Susan said so, and so did Molasses grandma. That's why. Now, we just do it to camera, Beth, to camera. My little blade's in the way, hold on. Woo! Try to time it just right. There we go. And away she goes. I've got flour and cloves all over me. I'm just smelling spicy. So if you're writing a story over a 6-year time, how do you keep everything straight in your head? Great question. When I started, I made an outline, and my outline was 30 pages long. That's when I knew this is gonna be a beast. But what a beautiful beast it was to write. So in case you haven't seen my other videos, the series that I wrote, it's called the Cauldron series. It's about a world of 4 islands. Each island is able to create one element that sustains life. So they have to get along with each other in order to conduct trade, because if you don't trade with one island and get the resource that you need for survival, and they don't trade with you, you're both dead. So you have to get along with each other. There is a real threat with islands, whether or not how they create their resource for life is shared with somebody else, how it's done, because if another island can make what you're making, there's no reason for them to trade with you, and that means you die. And so does your entire island of people. So they created a law called the border law, and the border law keeps women inland their entire lives and men only able to be on the shores to conduct trade. And if you break the border law, that's considered a capital crime and you die. And so the story is about a boy that gets past a border that isn't his own and gets into this island and meets a girl. So it's a really cool element of the story, the fact that these men and women from other islands have never seen each other, because the women have never gone outside of their island and men have never gone inside of an island that isn't their own. So some of you have asked where I'm at in the publishing process. So I am right now sending query letters to literary agents. Now I gotta go wash my hands, but that was so worth it. These are my Aunt Susan's cookies. These aren't Grandma's, and I'll tell you why. Because Aunt Susan says you always wanna make these a day ahead. Roll it up and put it in the fridge to let all of those spices just marry each other in the most beautiful way overnight. And then when you make them, the flavors are so much better combined and developed. So, Aunt Susan, I knew they were yours all along. Wax paper. Watch this. I don't have gloves in my kitchen. I should have plastic gloves, but you know why I don't? Because I just use really cheap sandwich bags. I don't know. It's just one less box that I have to have in my drawer down there. We're just going to form this into a log. Perfect. All right, so you take it, and I do this, and I kind of do this to kind of round it out. Bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. Stick this in your fridge for overnight, or if you make them in the morning, they'll be ready to bake that night. So worth it. We're back. It is actually 2 days later. I didn't have a chance to make them yesterday, so they've just been mellowing out in all of their beauty in my fridge. Now, let's get it out, slice it up, and make some molasses crinkle cookies. Yes, that's what you want. Use wax paper. Just comes right off. Get some sugar and get a cookie sheet. I'm not getting a very big cookie sheet out because I'm just going to do about 6 cookies, enough that they're just fresh and yummy for my family right now. Where's my scoop? Oh, I washed it. Okay, put a little bit of sugar in a bowl. I'll show you why in a second. Grease your cookie sheet. You can either get a knife. I happen to have, from my Miracle Blade set, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my first video. Check this guy out. He's so great for this sort of thing. If you've got a knife like this or any kind of straight edge, it's perfect. You're gonna make them about 1 inch in thickness. This is the nub, so you know, you gotta just work with them, give them a chance, roll them up, about like that. Dip him in some sugar. Not just beautiful already? And you just do that over and over again. So you put them on the cookie sheet, sugar side up, but if you have trouble with it rolling on you, just give it a light little press to flatten the bottom out and steady the base. Since I'm only doing 6, I'm gonna spread them out really well. My Aunt Susan does not say to do this, but Grandma Molasses does. Take some water and sprinkle 2 to 3 drops on each cookie ball here, and it helps them crack or crinkle. In the oven they go for 10 to 12 minutes depending on their size. These are pretty big, might be a little longer. And it's $3.75. Like and subscribe to get all of my family's favorite recipes while we talk novel writing and a great story. Once I reach 1,000 followers, I will be doing a Facebook Live cooking show. I put them 3 inches apart, and look, they were so big, they still went together. So spread yours out a little bit more, but I'm going to set these right here and give them just a minute on the cookie sheet, and then we'll remove them, put them on our wire racks. But I'm gonna eat mine piping hot. Can't wait. Let's see. Oh, yes. Can you see the cracks? They're crinkle cookies. Yes. If gingerbread houses were made out of my Aunt Susan's molasses crinkle cookies, not a stitch of candy would be put on one, because the house would be eaten before you'd ever get to that point. Oh, yeah, they're chewy. I hope you can sit down with your family in this season and have delicious cookies and read a really great story. Cheers.